you think of Barrios? He's a big, strong, he's young, he's 30. You have 16 years on him, Manny.
Don't worry about it.
Manny, for a lot of people, you are the greatest fighter in history, the only individual champion, the only champion in 4 different decades. When you beat Barrios, what does that say?
Oh, it's a big thing for me.
And
Tank Davis showed up at Manny Pacquiao's training camp this week and jumped into a sparring session with the legend. The unexpected move comes as a surprise to some, but for those paying attention, it makes perfect sense. This isn't just a cameo or a favor. Tank is feeling out the terrain. Pacquiao is deep into his preparation for his July 19th comeback fight against Mario Barrios, and Tank's presence in the camp is a quiet signal of what could be next.
So basically, your interpretation is that the boxing public is upset because they believe Pacquiao's gonna beat Barrios, which is gonna lead to a Tank Pacquiao fight?
Yes, look around, look in the Discord. That's what everybody, Pac and Tank, that's being set up.
Oh,
Tank
so,
and Pac.
okay, so they saying Barrios is the setup for Tank and Pac. I didn't see that, but your argument makes sense. If he beats Barrios, there's nothing wrong with him fighting Tank. But the issue is he don't deserve the Barrios.
There's a current running through this fight camp that's charged with something more than nostalgia, because it's not just about Mario Barrios anymore. It's also about the future, about what comes next, about a 46-year-old former 8th Division champion trying to feel what it's like to be back under the lights, and maybe, just maybe, lining up one last mega fight.
This whole Barrios and Manny thing, y'all don't see what the bigger picture is? Y'all don't think we're gonna get a Manny Pacquiao 2 coming soon? Y'all don't think so? Because you do know Barrios is the ultimate company name.
Oh.
Mayweather Pac 2? Yeah, I don't see that. I don't see that. I'm more on the Tank. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I think that Tank gets the fight.
That's what I've been saying. I said I'm gonna stand on it that if Manny Pacquiao pulls this off and gets that belt, Floyd Mayweather's coming out of retirement.
This time, at age 46, Manny Pacquiao is still running hills, still working mitts with Freddie Roach, still forcing his body through the punishing days he used to live through when he ruled boxing's welterweight division. He knows it's different now. The legs are older, the recovery is slower, but the mind is locked in. I'm still excited for it, and I'm enjoying all the training, Pacquiao told Boxing Scene. I still have the passion like before, so I'm excited I don't have to worry about that. That's not a throwaway line. That's a man who has already buried himself in the grind again. The difference this time is he doesn't have to do it. He just wants to.
You got your boy Barrios fighting Pacquiao, man.
Yeah.
You know, a legend. What do you think Barrios needs to do in that fight against Pacquiao, man?
I feel like he has to keep Pacquiao on the outside. He has a height and reach advantage, so I feel like he just go out there and do what he's always done.
What's your prediction for that fight?
Mario Barrios victory.
Do you think it goes all 12 rounds?
I think he has what it takes to stop Pacquiao.
You surprised Pacquiao's coming out of retirement at 46?
Pacquiao's last real fight was nearly 4 years ago, a points loss to Yordenis Ugas in August 2021. After that, he flirted with exhibitions, dabbled in them half-heartedly, and then stepped away completely. He chased a political seat back home in the Philippines, trying to return to the Senate, but fell short in the elections. That was in May. By June, he had already committed to a new challenge. He picked Mario Barrios as his next opponent, a 30-year-old WBC welterweight champion from San Antonio. Barrios has 29 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, and 18 knockouts. He's a full-fledged welterweight in his prime, something Pacquiao is very aware of. I'm confident I'll win the fight, Pacquiao said, but I'm not taking it lightly and not underestimating him. I have to punish myself as I've done before in training.
I would ask a simple question. And please, Manny, tell me the truth. Why? That's it. That's it. Why? Why are you coming back? And the warrior that Manny is, he's gonna be like, because I...
Barrios has shared the ring with other elite fighters, including Gervonta Davis. That fight didn't go his way, but he gave Tank a serious challenge before getting stopped. Since then, Barrios has rebuilt, and now he's got the belt. He's not a tune-up, he's not a warm-up, he's a live opponent with everything to gain. Sparring partners say Barrios is sharp, focused, and knows exactly what this fight means for his career. Amir Khan, who trained with both men at different points, gave his own honest breakdown. It's a fantastic fight for Mario. He needs that big fight. He'll be paid well, and fighting a legend like Manny Pacquiao, who would say no to that? Khan said. Mario deserves this fight because every fighter wants that big payday. It will be fantastic for him.
I didn't think, like, this shit was really gonna happen, but I mean, we're here. He's doing something that not many people have done. I'm defending my title against a legend. I'm excited.
Mario, you fought the best at 140, 147. Do you have a favorite Manny Pacquiao fight? And, growing up, you saw like, man, this guy's like fucking legit.
Man, there's so many, but I grew up a big Marquez fan.
Khan didn't stop there. When me and Virgil Hunter were training together, I used to spar with him quite a lot. He's a very good boxer. I don't know how much Manny's got left in him. If they were in their prime, in their peak, then I'd say all day Manny Pacquiao. But this could be a tricky fight for Pacquiao. At the end of the day, he's been out of the ring for a long time, and has he still got the fire in his belly? Barrios. I'm sure he's going to come in wanting to win this fight because it can change his life. Pacquiao knows that too. He's seen this movie before, and he's not going to let himself walk into a young fighter's breakthrough moment. That's why he's back with Freddie Roach. That's why the road work is brutal again. That's why the mitt work is crisp and clean, not showy or ceremonial. Pacquiao isn't selling memories. He's preparing for a real fight. I just trained 1 week for those on exhibitions, so, he said, they can all expect a good Manny Pacquiao. I know the fans are excited to watch Manny Pacquiao again. I will do my best, and that's why I'm doing this in training, doing all the hard work like I did before in the gym. I'm here to put up a good fight. I won't let the fans down.
Manny, trust me. Let your body relax, let your body rest. He'll do fine. He's experienced. He's got obviously the power because it never leaves you. The speed I'm a little worried about, but I think, look, Barrios is a live dog. He's a world champion, and he's no slouch. So I think it's going to be a good fight. I wish Manny all the best. I'm not sure who's going to win. I really haven't seen Barrios, but I think Barrios, I mean, the youth is obviously with him in this corner.
The energy in camp was already solid, but it got a lift this week with title wins by two fighters Pacquiao promotes, Mexico's Wilibaldo Garcia and the Philippines' Pedro Taduran. The wins meant something more than just business. I'm excited and happy for them, and happy that I can help others reach my goal, Pacquiao said. It's a reminder that his life in boxing never really stopped. He just stepped back from the spotlight. Now he's stepping into it again. If he wins, it will be his 13th welterweight title victory, starting from that TKO over Miguel Cotto in 2009. That fight was nearly 16 years ago, and yet here he is, still chasing belts, still filling arenas, still drawing attention. It means a lot to come back, and I ask that of the Lord. He said of reclaiming a world title at age 46. That would make him the second oldest world champion in boxing history.
YouTube show.
1 second. Do you have, so you got Manny winning?
Yes.
You got Manny winning?
No. Against Barrios?
Yeah.
No, I think, look, every great fighter got one great fight left in him. That had to be Thurman. And Manny, I think Manny seems to want to, Manny appears to be like how Bernard and Roy were. Like, he's really one of those great old school fighters where you gotta he's gotta go out on his shield.
Yeah.
Going out on your shield used to not mean just in any.
And it wouldn't stop there. The buzz around a potential fight with Gervonta Davis is already humming in the background. Sean Gibbons, Pacquiao's longtime promoter and close associate, made it clear. When he beats Mario Barrios, line them up. His dream fight is Gervonta Davis. He loves that fight. He tried to get that fight for a couple of years. Gervonta kept talking about how he didn't want to fight him at 145. Then he goes and gets smoked by Lamont Roach. So Manny Pacquiao can get this belt, and it's going to be a wonderful ride out.
What makes you think he's got a chance against the much younger, the 29-year-old Mario Barrios?
Look, I'm not saying the odds will be high that he's going to come back and pull this upset or even be ultra competitive. But again, it's sort of like Manny's already superhuman. Turning pro at like age 15 or 16 at 106 pounds and winning titles in 8 divisions. And oh, by the way, 2 fights ago for Manny in 2019, he came out of retirement and
Gervonta Davis is expected to rematch Roach in August after their first fight ended with fans calling for a do-over. The controversial result left Tank's reputation dented. If he wins clean in the rematch, and if Pacquiao gets past Barrios, then the setup is right there. A generational fight between the aging legend and the current star. It's no longer a fantasy. It's a sequence of realistic steps, and Tank coming to camp to spar could easily be seen as a handshake before the paperwork. There are other names floating around Tank too. Jake Paul has come up, with reports suggesting the two are in talks for an exhibition. But Paul is a detour. Pacquiao is the road. It's legacy versus ambition, name versus name, and both men know it.
It's a joke, really. There's the thought. It's an absolute joke. I love Manny Pacquiao. Love everything about him. An all-time great in terms of what he's done previous, but that doesn't entitle you to just walk back in after 6 years and get a number 4 ranking with the WBC and fight for a world title. What about all the other guys that are waiting around? It's wrong. We seen Manny Pacquiao fight an exhibition against a kickboxer in his last fight, and kickboxers can't box, right? I've seen.
When asked if he'd fight again after Barrios, Pacquiao didn't fully commit. I don't know. One at a time, I need to focus on this one fight, he said. That's what he always says. That's what he said before the Cotto fight, before the De La Hoya fight, before the Thurman fight. But the people around him already know what's next. Gibbons didn't hedge. His dream fight is Gervonta Davis. If that fight happens, it will be one of the most unexpected collisions in boxing in recent memory. Not because it doesn't make sense, but because so few thought Pacquiao would ever come back and be this serious. The exhibitions dulled the hype. The political run made it seem like boxing was behind him. But Pacquiao isn't coming back for nostalgia. He's coming back for a belt, and maybe one last big name on his record.
I think it's terrible, to be honest with you. I mean, it just sort of like sums up the way boxing's going these days. The WBC, I think, is for so many years has been known as the most respected out there. You know, the famous green belt. You know, boxing just seems to turn a corner. You know, a 58-year-old Mike Tyson fighting Jake Paul, 46-year-old Manny Pacquiao coming back. Not just coming back after years of retirement, straight into the top 10 of the world rankings and fighting for the.
Yordenis Ugas knows exactly what it means to share the ring with Manny Pacquiao. He did it in 2021 and beat him, fair and square. But now, as Pacquiao readies himself to fight Mario Barrios, Ugas sees the situation not as a simple return of a boxing legend, but as a complex, risky gamble for Barrios. Ugas, who also faced Barrios later and lost to him in 2023, has a unique vantage point. He's one of the only fighters who has gone toe-to-toe with both men, and what he sees isn't an easy path for Barrios. Instead, Ugas believes Barrios is walking into a fight that's laced with danger, no matter how it ends.
This is a bad idea. Out of nowhere, the WBC decides they want their welterweight champion, Mario Barrios, to defend his belt against Manny Pacquiao. About 7 to 8, maybe 9, 10 years ago, I would have said, hells yeah, if we had a Manny Pacquiao championship fight. But Manny's been...
Ugas explained that Barrios is stuck in a lose-lose situation. If Barrios beats Pacquiao, the critics will chalk it up to age. If he loses, the backlash could be even worse. It could be a lose-lose situation. If he wins, people will say, Pacquiao was old. If he loses, they'll say, you lost to an old man. Barrios is taking a big risk. Ugas added that when he fought Pacquiao, it wasn't a version of the Filipino legend limping into the twilight of his career. Pacquiao had just come off one of his most impressive victories, beating Keith Thurman, the then top welterweight in the division. The version Ugas beat had momentum, belief, and sharpness. That version was still dangerous.
There's a lot to unpack here. I'm going to start with the fact he's coming out of retirement. It's a real shame that he sees the need, at his age, 46 years old, to come out of retirement after 4 years out of the game, after 6 years since winning a fight. This also being his second fight, professional fight, in that same span of time, 7 years, 6 years, 7 years. It's a real shame that he feels the need. Look, he probably lost a lot of money.
Now, the context is entirely different. This time, Pacquiao is 46 years old, coming off a 4-year layoff and a loss. He looked slow and out of rhythm in his recent exhibition against Japanese kickboxer Rukia Ampo. Many thought that would be the final image of Pacquiao in a boxing ring. Yet here he is, set to challenge a world champion once again. This time it's harder, Ugas admitted. Still, he knows enough about Pacquiao to keep his expectations in check. We'll see. It'll be a good fight, though.
After his training with Freddie Roach, he's back in the gym at the Wild Card Gym as well. Pacquiao made it very official today on Twitter. He says, in quote, "I'm back," end quote. He also wrote on social media, he's added, "Let's make history," end quote. Now, Pacquiao, we're going to talk about his training a little bit, all the critical howl from the public about him coming back, and also
that fight against Ugas in 2021 was supposed to be Pacquiao's comeback story. Instead, it became his send-off. Ugas outboxed and outpointed him, leaving Pacquiao unable to match the output that defined his prime. The speed, angles, and flurries that overwhelmed opponents for decades were muted. It looked like the final chapter had been written. Afterward, Pacquiao pivoted fully toward politics, running for president in the Philippines in 2022. When that campaign failed, he quietly began mulling a return. It wasn't about money, at least not entirely. It was about something deeper: legacy, pride, the need to end things on his own terms.
Well, I got excited about that. Don't tarnish your legacy. You have a pretty good legacy.
It's for the WBC Welterweight Championship on July 19th in Las Vegas.
Yeah, just don't do it.
He has enough money. I don't know why he wants
I know. He's 46.
That desire has kept him training and testing the waters. Last year's exhibition didn't go well, but Pacquiao has doubled down. He's now in full training camp, chasing a real belt against a real opponent in a sanctioned world title fight. That fact alone has ruffled feathers. Promoter Frank Warren spoke candidly about his discomfort. "You come in and test the waters, going straight into a world title fight. I don't understand that. For me, it doesn't sit well with me for the sport. I've got to be honest, I don't agree with it." Warren compared it to other aging fighters, Vladimir Klitschko, George Foreman, who returned long after their primes. But even with those names in the past, Warren isn't convinced this is the right way for boxing to showcase its legends.
Now, whether you think this is brave or very reckless, the comeback is on. Even Bob Arum, who let him go years ago, is said to be hoping he wins. But hope doesn't mean much when you're 46. For years of age and also very inactive, and stepping against a strong, active champion. For better or for worse, guys, Manny Pacquiao is back on the 19th at the...
These guys are well past their sell-by date. That is the truth. And the facts are, it doesn't do the business or the sport any good. Paulie Malignaggi took it even further. He didn't just question Pacquiao's age, he outright criticized Barrios. According to Malignaggi, the current welterweight division is so weak that a fighter like Barrios could win a title almost by default. Mario Barrios not only continues to not impress, he looks like he's getting worse, and he wasn't that good to begin with. For Malignaggi, Pacquiao saw an opportunity, a weak champion in a weak division, and moved in for one last historic shot. I think if the welterweight division was more competitive, Manny wouldn't come back. I think he's picking a moment where he sees an opportunity.
The welterweight division is the weakest it's ever been. I think,
It
I mean, at least in my life, it's very bad. It's really poor. And so there is an opportunity to step in. I think if the welterweight division was more competitive, I think Manny wouldn't come back. I think he's picking a moment where he sees an opportunity. Mario Barrios not only continues to not impress, he looks like he's getting worse, and he wasn't that good to begin with. It just, in a weak welterweight division, a guy like that has picked up a title. So I think
that opportunity could indeed be historic. If Pacquiao beats Barrios, he'll reclaim a welterweight title at age 46, breaking his own record of oldest welterweight champion set in 2019 when he beat Keith Thurman at 40. It would add yet another unbelievable chapter to a career already stuffed with them. But the risks are just as big. Getting seriously hurt at this stage isn't just career ending, it could be life altering. That's why the return has raised eyebrows across the boxing world.
And the news, Manny Pacquiao is coming out of retirement.
Is it to unleash Batman again on his country that he ran?
Manny Pacquiao is coming out of retirement to face Mario Barrios in Las Vegas title fight.
I got excited about that. Don't tarnish your legacy. You have a pretty good legacy.
It's for the WBC Welterweight Championship on July 19th in Las Vegas.
Yeah, just don't do it.
He has enough.
Still, there's at least one legend who isn't second-guessing Pacquiao's decision. Sugar Ray Leonard. Leonard, who himself returned to fight in his 40s after long layoffs, gets it. There's not one thing that will really make people understand why we do what we do, Leonard said. But you know what? God bless, stay healthy, and take care. Leonard's view is simple. Fighters fight. Even when the world thinks it's time to stop, something inside them keeps pulling them back. Leonard added, "I've made more comebacks than everybody. I hold the record, undisputed." In Pacquiao, Leonard sees a kindred spirit, someone not ready to let go.
Yeah, it's surprising. Obviously, I know Manny very well. You know, he's a true competitor. He's a guy that if you put something in his head, and obviously to create more history, he's a guy that's going to give everything and, you know, try his best. That's what Manny, one thing I always learned with Manny is give 110% and try your best no matter what. So yeah, he's going to give it his all. Again, you can't beat Father Time, but Father Time is hard, and it was very hard watching him fight.
Pound for pound King Terence Crawford also weighed in, and his analysis was more technical than emotional. Crawford believes the fight is much more evenly matched than people assume. Mario Barrios is a great matchup for Manny Pacquiao, and I think at this age, it's a 50-50 fight for Manny Pacquiao. That kind of talk underscores the uncertainty around this fight. It's not just about Pacquiao's age, it's about what he still has left, and whether Barrios is truly elite or simply a belt holder in a thin division. Well, what do you think? Share your thoughts below and subscribe for more updates.